Hello, welcome to Financial Lighthouse. My name is George Wong. It's a pleasure to have you again. So today is February 20th, 2023, and it's a day that many Canadians are home celebrating family together, what they call Family Day. So for that reason, I want to just take this moment to wish you all a very special, happy Family Day. You deserve it, you work hard, and you need these rare moments to sit together as a family and see where you're going to. Look at your work life and your retirement and many more. So happy Family Day. So I have a special message for you. 2 points, 2 key points. The first one is a reminder that for those people who want to use RRSP or who have been using RRSP as a financial planning strategy, I want to remind you that if you plan to use it this year in this upcoming tax season, this February is the last month, and today being February 20th, it means we have just 8 days. This is the last 8 days that you can make use of it before the year would run out. So for those who are already using it, enjoy and continue to enjoy your Family Day. Those who don't know about it, which leads me to the second point, I'll be talking about who needs to buy an RRSP plan and for what reason, how does it benefit you? So if you continue to follow along with me in the video, you're going to discover that and many more. This will open your mind and you'll understand whether this is a good strategy for you or not. A disclaimer before I wrap up, this is not to upsell RRSP. I don't favor any financial plan because there is no one size fit all. I always like to make this very clear. There is no bad financial product. There is only not too good strategy, some good strategies and not too good strategy. I don't want to say bad, but there is no bad financial product. Every product has somebody out there who needs it, and you need to find out what you need before you decide. Thank you, and follow along with me. So, hello, welcome once more. Again, my name is George Wong. We appreciate you for coming to join us on Financial Lighthouse. Our main topic today, who should buy RRSP? I guess you must have asked yourself this question at some point, or maybe you're about to ask yourself this question. So, is RRSP for everybody? Do you think so? I don't think so. So if it's not for everybody, who is it for? Is it for you? Is it not for you? So keep that at the back of your mind. We're going to go straight into our agenda. So for today, our agenda for today will focus on the RRSP tax bracket. But before that, the very first one, before I forget, the final week for RRSP contributions is this week. Today is February 20th, so we have barely 8 days in 2023. If you are counting on contributing to your RRSP and taking advantage of that contribution in the next or the upcoming tax season, so this week is your last shot. This is a very strong reminder for those who really want to take advantage, those who use this vehicle to take advantage, and don't forget, this is the last week. So our topic for today, we'll look at tax brackets, and then next we'll look at RRSP contributions, how they complement with tax bracket, and they give us the advantages that we have in the RRSP. And then we'll look at the RRSP tax returns, and then finally we'll look at who benefits from RRSP and why RRSP. So our hope for today is really that by the end of this video, you would have the necessary information to make an informed decision and to decide whether RRSP is the right vehicle for you or not. And we are here to support you along that in your decision making. So our very first topic, we'll look at tax bracket. I'm happy to share with you, this is valuable information. You have the taxable income for 2023 versus taxable income for 2022. Let me get my pen so that we can highlight that. Yeah, so 2023 right here versus 2022. This is something that you need to note down. For those who know their tax bracket, good. Those who don't know, this is good information. The first thing I got from this information, this piece of information, is the fact that we can declare that government has reduced tax somehow. How significant is it is immaterial, but at least there's a reduction in taxes. Maybe because of the high inflation or whatever. Why do I say so? For 2022, if you look at the tax rates for 2022 and you compare that with the tax rates for 2023, you could say that is exactly the same thing. But however, when you look at the corresponding tax bracket, you will see that the tax bracket has been raised a little bit in 2023. For example, if we take the very first tax bracket, it's 49,000 in 2023, whereas in 2022 it was 46,000. What this means is that in 2022, from your first dollar at the beginning of the year when you start making money, from your first dollar to 46,000, you were taxed at 20.05%. In 2023, that has increased to 49,000, meaning that you would earn up to 49,000 and yet you will still be taxed at 20.05%. It will take you beyond 49,000 before you jump to the next tax bracket at 24%. Meanwhile, in 2022, at 46, barely at 46, above 46,000, you are already taxed at 24%. So with that, it follows the same trend follows with the other tax brackets down. So you can clearly see that a lot of people will benefit from some tax advantage. It's general across the board. So this is useful information. The next thing I want to share is I will just read this out clearly. So this will help you to locate wherever you are in terms of your tax bracket. So a lot of people I come across, they don't really know what is their tax bracket. So if you make from 0 to 49,000, you'll be taxed at 20.05%. Marginal tax means provincial and federal. From 49 to 53,000, that is the next tax bracket. You would be taxed at 24%. Use the music a little bit. So you'll be taxed at 24%, and the next bracket is 53 to 86,000, and then 86 to 98,000, 98 to 102,000, 102 to 106, 106 to 150. That's a big jump, very large tax bracket. 150 to 165, 165 to 220, 220 to 235, and from 235 and above, you will be taxed at 53%. So it doesn't matter, you make 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 1 million, you will be taxed all at 53%. So these are the corresponding tax rates for this tax bracket. We'll go along and then we'll digest some insights from this information. This was a general information sharing, so you can locate where you are in terms of the tax brackets and you know exactly what your taxable income looks like. Now let's talk about tax bracket proper. Beginning with the first tax bracket, that is 49,000. I made some calculations at the tax rate of 20%. It means you will take home 39,000 if you make 49,000. So you pay about $10,000 in taxes. In the next bracket, between 49 to 53,000, somebody just above 49,000 will take home 37,000. You see, this 37 is calculated at 50,000. So if you make 50,000, so you earn higher than the 49,000, but you take home less, 37,000, compared to somebody making 49,000 who takes home for $39,000. So something to take note about. And I want to draw your attention to this point. This is low income bracket up to this point. $53,000 to $86,000 bracket. This is the middle income tax bracket, and majority of the population are within this tax bracket right here. Above this tax bracket, you can say this is high income, and then you would see why the RRSP starts to make difference for different people, make sense for different people. So tell me, if you make $49,000 or even $53,000, how much can you save based on the standard of living? How much can you really save aside to put in an RRSP? Not a lot of people within this category can even put some money away to take advantage of the RRSP. And even if they do, say for example you make $53,000, you squeeze $2,000 to put in an RRSP in the year. So $53,000 minus $2,000, for example, it will take you to $51,000. It will still not get you out of that tax bracket. You still be within the same tax bracket, so you still pay tax at 24%, which is not making any sense. It's not helping you. The worst is even the first category, 49,000. It doesn't matter how much you save. Even if you save 10,000, 15,000, it's not going to get you out of that tax bracket. You still pay at 20%. And this particular category here, I want to mention, know that for Ontario, for example, these taxes vary from province to province. If you are in Quebec, in retirement, when you withdraw money at retirement, you pay 15% tax. But in Ontario, if you take money from your RRSP account at retirement, above 15,000 withdrawal per year, you are already at 30% tax. So now you tell me that somebody paying tax in their active work life at 20% or 24%, and you're putting money in an RRSP that you eventually withdraw and potentially be paying at 30%, does that make any financial sense? In addition to the fact that taxes are always going up year by year. So whether you are 20 years old today or 40 years, by the time you get to 65, you would not be looking at the same numbers here. So this is a no-go for me. So I wouldn't recommend this kind of product for anybody in this category. Even in the middle income earners, I will still look at it comparatively, pros and cons, and see who can benefit from it. If you are at $80,000 and you manage to save even $10,000, it will take you to 70. You are still within the same tax bracket. You are not getting into the lower tax bracket. How does that make sense for you to put money in that? If you want to take advantage of that, you still pay the same tax. And even at 29,000, I would still say at retirement is 30,000. Still doesn't make any financial sense. If you are making about, say, $60,000 and you save $10,000, okay, then you can look at that and say it will get you into the lower tax bracket at 24%. So 29 and 24%, okay, we can then exploit some other advantages. So the other thing I want to share with you, this is a huge tax bracket right here. Next thing I want to share with you is this high income bracket here. There's a lot of flexibility. They make more money and there's room for them to put something aside. They can save some money aside, which can potentially get them from one higher tax bracket into a lower tax bracket. Let's take, for example, if you are making $106,000, you will take home $66,000. This is the maximum out of this tax bracket right here. So, but somebody making $107,000, just a little above $106,000, they will take home $60,000, way about $6,000 less than somebody making below that. This is the impact of tax bracket. If you understand this, then you start to understand why RRSP, some people need that RRSP. If you are at $107,000, it may make sense for you to put some money into an RRSP that will get you, for example, say $107,000 and you save $5,000. Immediately you jump from 43% down to 37%. This is about 6%, approximately 6% escape. And instead of painfully watching yourself at $107,000 and taking home $60,000, that is $6,000 less than somebody making $106,000 less than you. So this makes a lot of sense. One thing I like to add, if I went further to look, somebody making about $115,000, still they take home $65,000, still lower than somebody making $106,000. If you go up to $120,000 in this tax bracket, because they are at 43%, you see that they take home $67,000. It means even at $120,000, they just take home only $1,000 more than somebody making $106,000. Do you think if you bring RRSP here, it can be a savior to you? I think so too, and I will recommend that to you if you are within this. So it makes a lot of sense for people here. Let me take a scenario, for example, that you make $107,000 and you are able to save $10,000 in your RRSP. That will take you down to $197,000 as your annual income. $97,000 will take you 2 brackets down right here. Oh, 97, that is way right here. This is 3. So you see that you just escaped from 43% to 31%. Wow, that is about 12% escape. I don't know who will see this, who will understand this and not want to take advantage. So now you start to see it's making sense for some people, but not making sense for others. I want to add here that in the low income bracket here, there is potential that if you put money in an RRSP and you run into an emergency and you want to withdraw money from that RRSP, you risk increasing your tax bracket, because that money you withdraw from RRSP will be added onto your income for that year, and that can potentially get you a bracket up, making you pay higher tax instead. So this is some hot waters that you need to tread on carefully. After looking at the tax brackets, let's take an example of contribution and see how it works. In this case, for those who contributed to RRSP, let's say you make $100,000 and you're able to put away $18,000. That's about 18% of that. You are able to put up to 18% of your annual income, but there is a limit. We'll come to that. Say you are able to put away that $18,000, it will drop your income from $100,000 to $182,000. So because in the course of the year you were being charged tax for $100,000 because your income is obviously $100,000, it means you are already over contributing, because at the end of the year you are going to prove that you did put money in RRSP. So they will have to re-evaluate and calculate your taxes based on the 82,000 annual income, not 100,000. Now, because they had been deducting money based on 100,000, which is your normal annual income, you would expect to get tax return back. So in reality, what is happening is that by putting money in RRSP, you are literally telling the government that, yes, you deducted money for that tax, I paid my taxes for the year, but please refund the money, refund that tax to me. I am not ready to pay that tax right now. I will pay it sometime in the future, in retirement, let's say, because they call it retirement plan. I don't know why it's retirement plan, but at retirement, I will pay the tax. So the government will return to you. In this case, I say they are borrowing the money to you. So keep note, we'll come to that. For somebody, before I go to the next one, at $82,000, you pay taxes at 29%, compared to somebody at 100,000. If you were taxed at 100,000, it will be 33%. So in the next category, people who don't contribute to the RRSP, if you make 100,000 and you don't make any contribution to RRSP, 33% will mean that you pay $33,000, and the rest you take home about between $66,000 to $67,000. As simple as that. Definitely, for this income bracket, the person who is putting money in RRSP would make some huge savings, but if only they are able to set aside some money, because it's not everybody. People make 100,000 these days, still they cannot make ends meet. So it's about being able to put that money aside. It's not just putting the money there and get the tax return, and then very soon you want to go withdraw the money back, but it doesn't hurt to. You can withdraw it anytime, and you decide to pay the tax as long as you do that. So on our next slide here, I want to remind you that you can put up to 18% of your annual income, but there is a limit. Otherwise, those very wealthy people making like 300, 400, 500,000, 1 million a year, they say 18%. It means if I make 1 million, I need to buy a shovel to put about $180,000 into my RRSP. That way, this chunk of money, there is no tax on it. The rest I can pay, no problem. So the government needs tax too, so they put a limit. The maximum you can put in an RRSP is $27,000. So, and I tried to make a calculation to determine for $27,000, how do you max out this 18%? If I divide that by 18%, it will give me about $151,000. It means you can put up to 18% of your annual income if you make anywhere from 0 to 151,000. Anything above 151,000, you cannot put more than that 27,000, which is that 18% for 151,000. So you make 160,000, 180, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1 million. You can only put 27,000 in that RRSP. That is what it means. So let's talk about returns now. I decided to put this into 3 categories. The first scenario is the ideal scenario, of course, where you know your income and they make calculations based on your income, your previous income, and they deduct taxes for the next tax year. So at the end of the year, if everything goes okay, your income didn't change in the course of the year, you shouldn't expect to get any tax return. And you don't expect to pay any tax back. You don't owe the government don't owe you. So you break even, 0. In the second scenario, let's say you work less hour in the course of the year. Now you knew your previous income, for example, let's take, say, 100,000 the previous year. And in the course of this year, maybe some months you were on leave, or you were sick, you didn't work, or you lost a job and then you got another job, you lost some hours, or you pick a new job that with a lower income, whatever reason, or you work less hours, all of this lead to a lesser income compared to the previous year. Of course, because you were making 100,000, they will be deducting your taxes based on the 100,000. So at the end of the year, when you pay your tax, they will have to recalculate because now they were over deducting money from you for taxes. So they were overtaxing you. Let's say, for example, at the end of the year, you ended up with 70,000 instead of 100,000. So now you are even in a different tax bracket. You would pay lesser tax. So when they do the recalculation, it means the government took more money from you than they should have. So in this case, they need to refund money. This is what we call tax return. That's how tax return comes about. Some cases, maybe if you make more money than the previous year, of course, it turns around. So you are owing the government. So they were under deducting money from you. So now you have to top it up. That's why you see some people end up paying tax to the government. So, and the last category, before I go to this last category, I'd like to emphasize something here. When you get this money from the government, if in this scenario I just mentioned, this is actually your money. When the government over-deducted money from you, they return it to you. It's actually your money. It's not free money from the government. The government does not have free money to distribute. In the last scenario, if you contribute money into an RRSP, you are telling the government that I don't want to pay this tax right now. I will pay it sometime down the road. Although you already deducted these taxes from my income this year, can you please return it to me? The government will say, okay, no problem. We'll return it to you. And when the time comes, you'll pay it back. So now you will get tax return, but this tax return is different from the previous one because this one is actually the government's money. You are borrowing it. And one thing I want to emphasize here, if you borrow money, do you borrow money to spend it? Do you have a plan for that money? If you don't have, you better just leave it to the government. If you have a plan to save it or something, an emergency, that makes sense. Better invest it so that you can have some return before you pay it to the government. So let's progress on. I hope you are enjoying this. I'm glad to share this with you, by the way. So after sharing all of this with you, now who benefits from the RRSP? Why have an RRSP plan? There's three categories of circumstances that you may find yourself needing an RRSP. If you want to buy your house for the first time, there is some benefit there that RRSP can be attractive to you. If you get into a company that the company is matching your RRSP, if you put money in the RRSP, they match it. Most companies in the past used to do that, but nowadays they have walked away from that. If you get into a company, they are matching 50-50. You put $1,000, they put $1,000. You put $2,000, they put $2,000. Why wouldn't you take that? Of course, in the worst case scenario, even at 50% tax, you will know that what the company has put in will take care of all of that. I mean, all your money that you put inside is like you didn't pay any tax. The best way for me to express it. So, and people with high income brackets, like I already illustrated before, definitely they need to look at RSP. And then who benefits? The bank also. The bank always benefits either way you look at it, and I will explain more. So in the case of the banks, they have this huge capital. I mean, everybody wants to save money in an RRSP. They want to save money for retirement. It's not whether it's about RRSP or whatever plan they put in, the bank is always there. But because everyone wants to plan for those golden years, they want to put tons of money, and this is money that they will not access for a long time. They don't withdraw money from RRSP anyhow. So the bank is sitting on this huge capital. It's almost guaranteed capital that they invest left and right. And God alone knows how much they return to you. 0.5%. or 1% that they brag about, maybe if they give you 1.5%. So one thing to note here, do you think that there are some places that you can put even the same RRSP instead of the bank just having the money sit there, but make the money work for you? At least so while the company is making money, which they will do anyway, you at least can make something out of it. Just think about that. So this is a long-term investment for them. The capital is sitting there. How many people take money from RRSP? I mean, you start working from age 20 to age 65. That's about 40, 45 years. You just have the money onto, and when you do want to start withdrawing, you're not taking everything out. It will still be there, maybe you even die and leave it there. So, but I don't want to go into those details. The bank will always benefit, but my focus here is how can you max out your benefit? If you have an advisor, talk to them, and if you don't have, reach out to us. That's why we are here. That's why I'm sharing this information with you. The next person to benefit, the high income, of course, I illustrated here, as I illustrated here already. This is the category of people who have the highest need for RRSP. It will eventually drop them a bracket down and lower their taxes, and also the fact that they know at retirement they will definitely pay tax at 30%. It doesn't matter how much they withdraw. Above 15,000, you pay 30% tax. That's it. And currently in the active work life, they are paying 37, 43, 44, some even 43, 53% tax. So why not? The other category, home buyers plan. If you want to buy a house for the first time, the home buyers plan, HBP, I encourage you to Google it and read about it. This is something to take advantage. And when I remind people that this is the last week, if you want to take advantage of RRSP, this is the category of people that I'm particularly targeting. You don't want to lose, particularly if you are looking to buy a house in this year. This remaining 8 days of February, you need to look into this and take this seriously, because any money that you put, even if you borrow from your friends and put in that RSP and go declare, you get tax return, you get some money on top of that. But all the money you set there, you can potentially withdraw that money from the RSP towards a down payment. It will make you get into your home faster, and you have up to 15 years to return that money into that RRSP plan without any interest. I mean, where do you go loan money without interest? You're looking at 3 to 5%. I mean, for 15 years, that's enough time for you to return the money back. And then you get into your home sooner than you wanted. Something to think about. I know the real estate is crazy, but if you want to think about having that house this year, take this into consideration. Some other people who can benefit from RRSP, this lifelong learning plan, LLP, you can Google that and read about that as well. It helps you without going far to borrow money. If you were contributing into your RRSP, you can take that money with no interest and you pay for your school. The only condition is that you have to return the money back. And you can return it back and you can take as many times as you want. There is no limit how many times you can take it, but the condition is you have to return it back. And I think this is the last category. I already talked about this. If you get to a company that they're matching your RSP, jump at it, particularly 50-50. There are some companies that try to mimic and say they match your RSP and they match it at 3% or 4%. Bottom line, it comes to pros and cons. You have to check how is it bringing value to me? How am I winning here? And if you cannot do that assessment, you can talk to an advisor. We are here. So definitely go for it. So These are the only people I will recommend RRSP to them. Out of this, I don't think it's for you, because there is dozens of plans out there, different strategies that you can use. So in a summary, I want to summarize here. Be aware of the fact that RRSP is fully taxed at retirement. Fully taxed. Don't get that misconception, and then you cry at the end and say, I didn't know they pay taxes on money withdrawn from RRSP. I have another video, by the way, which I try to talk about that. These are the kind of things that I bring out to sensitize. The advantage of RRSP comes with the tax bracket. So know your tax bracket and see how you can complement it with this RRSP, and potentially lower your taxes. So RRSP has some benefits which we have looked at: the first-time home buyers, the HBP, and the lifelong learning plan, which you can take. For lower income brackets people, I would not recommend RRSP for them, unless after consideration, special cases. For example, they want to buy a house, if they're saving enough to buy a house. I wouldn't recommend that for them. I would just mention here, there's this impression that because everyone needs to save money for retirement, you open RRSP. I think with the information I've shared with you so far, you should know that not everybody, RRSP is not one size fits all. It's not suitable for everybody. I come across even students that are contributing money in an RRSP. What the hell would somebody open an RRSP account? This is taxable money for a student who is still in school. So anyway, I hope you're taking note of all of that. There are potential consequences for withdrawing money from your RRSP before retirement. I mentioned that earlier. If you withdraw money before retirement, it can potentially take you into a higher bracket, making you pay more taxes than you desire. At the end of the day, evaluate yourself, evaluate your suitability. Any product, not just RRSP, it's a rule of thumb. Evaluate, assess your suitability, talk to an advisor. I need to mention here, you don't maybe some people pay advisors. Advisors are free, they work for you. They get paid for the business they do. So don't be afraid to talk to an advisor. But the thing I want to emphasize is the advisor in the bank, do you think that is your advisor or the bank's advisor? Because there are some people, a lot of people, they miss this. They say, my advisor is not your advisor. Because sooner or later, when the bank no longer needs the services, they will take them away and get another one. And these people don't know you. They're working for the bank, not for you. Yeah. So, lastly, I want to thank you immensely for coming to support us. Just coming to watch this, you're supporting us. We appreciate you, and we are hoping that you will continue to support us, and we are recommending you to like what you have seen, like, share with people. Everyone needs to save for retirement, even if it's not RRSP that is suitable for them. Share with your friends, your family, your colleagues, and also please subscribe so that when something new comes up like this one coming today, you will easily be notified. Again, we at the Financial Lighthouse, we are here to warm you up. We have been there, we have been in that ocean with the turbulence, with the cold, and we navigated to the shore. In the Financial Lighthouse, we want to show you the road. And when you do get into the lighthouse, we can serve you some coffee to make you warm.